Welcome to the Pod Squad, a podcast brought to you by the pupils of Sculholmkill Letterkenny, our platform to explore, learn and have fun.
In this episode, we talk to Mick McCarthy, former Irish international football captain and manager.
Today, on the Pod Squad, we are absolutely honoured to welcome a true legend of Irish football, a man who has worn the green jersey with pride, both as a player and as a manager. Mick McCarthy captained the Republic of Ireland under Jack Charlton during the historic 1990 World Cup in Italy, leading the team with determination and heart on football's biggest stage. As a manager, he guided Ireland to the unforgettable 2002 World Cup and went on to manage clubs across England and Europe, including Millwall, Sunderland, Wolves, Ipswich Town, Cardiff City, Apoel in Cyprus, and most recently Blackpool. He's known for his no-nonsense leadership, deep knowledge of the game and unwavering passion for football. Mick, it's a real privilege to have you with us here today. And now I'm going to hand things over to Christopher and to the rest of the pupils. They've got some brilliant questions lined up for you. So welcome to the Pod Squad, Mick McCarthy. Thank you, Mick.
Thank you. I look forward to the questions. I've been chatting to Christopher.
How are you, Mick, today?
I'm very well, Christopher. Thanks. How are you?
Grand, just a couple of questions here. What was the moment you knew you wanted to become a professional footballer?
Well, I used to play football with my dad. He used to play football with us in the house, in the garden, in the street. So we always loved it. I remember we were chatting earlier and I said I used to watch Leeds United. I support Leeds United. And I remember watching him as a young lad, younger than you, and thinking I'd love to be a professional footballer. But it seemed to be a million miles away. And, people, well, when I was growing up, probably still doing it, I'd never make a professional footballer. So I remember being very young, wanting to be one, but not really setting my sights on it because everybody told me I wouldn't get to be one. Anyway, I proved a few people wrong, thankfully.
Well done on that.
Thank you.
Can you describe the feeling of captaining Ireland in a World Cup?
I'll try for you. Yes, I'm not sure I'm that articulate. Well, first of all, it was a huge honour to be given the captaincy. I know Jack trusted me to make sure we did what he was asking of us and how we played. And good old Jack, in his own inimitable way, sort of threatened me that if we didn't do it the way he said, because I don't pass the message on, that I'd be in trouble. So he had a certain way he wanted us to play. When he gave me the captaincy, I was honoured and hugely proud. And then to be able to do it in a quarter-final of a World Cup, well, that was just magnificent. Really. Like I said, it's hard to explain. Just your heart's beating, you're bursting with pride, and leading the team out was just an amazing thing to be able to do.
Yeah, hopefully I get that feeling someday.
I hope you do, because it's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. Who was the toughest opponent you ever faced on the pitch, and why?
Toughest. See, I always regard toughest as two different things. Toughest, there's the toughest who are physically tough, and then there's the toughest in terms of technically tough. So I had a few run-ins. Norman Whiteside was a tough guy. I remember I played against him. We didn't see the ball for 30 minutes. And when it bounced between us, we wondered what it was because we'd been bashing each other for 30 minutes. A guy called Billy Whitehurst, I would say, was the toughest of all, physically, but technically, I have a couple really. Rude Hullet was amazing.
Oh, he's a legend.
Played again. He's an incredible player. So big, so strong, so quick, so just technically gifted. And the other one was Hadji, George Hadji in the World Cup in 1990. Backy Bonner had to pull a few saves off from him. He was just an amazing player. So they're like four of them. I can't really split them up, Toughest physically, some amazing. It was a different game back then when I played. And toughest technically, definitely I'd have to toss a coin between George Hadji and Rude Hullet. So I hope that answers it for you.
That will, thank you. What's one thing young footballers today should really focus on if they want to go far? First and foremost, working hard, being exceptionally fit, be prepared to work, because if you don't, then you might make it, but not at the top level. The top players are exceptionally fit. Be diligent and train properly. You've got to eat properly. You've got to look after yourself, and you've got to practice your art, your skill. If you're a left winger, you want to practice your left foot, but you've also got to practice your right foot. And that, out of all of the things, if you're a good player, you've got your skill, got your energy, you've got your fitness, you've got your strength. If you're a two-footed player, believe me, managers will love you. So if you can use left and right, that's the best thing I can ask you to do. I'll take them tips on board now, Mick.
Please do, Christopher. You're very good.
What's the biggest lesson football has taught you about life?
Wow, that's a good one. I'm 66. I've learned a lot about life.
You're not that old.
You'll have to try these. I'll have another look. Thank you. Life's lessons out of football. But you know what I said to you earlier about working hard and doing things properly. I don't think I was the most gifted player in the world by any stretch of the imagination, but I was prepared to work hard, and once I got a chance at Barnsley, I grabbed it with both hands, and I was going to make sure I made a living out of it. And thankfully, I went on from Barnsley to Manchester City to Celtic. I played for my country, I played for Ireland. And that, I have to say, has come from hard work, determination, and being prepared to give my all for every cause, because there's a lot more skillful players than I were, but I stuck at it and I worked hard at it. So if you do that, you'll have a chance.
When you must have been good at keeping them skillful players away then.
You see, Christopher, that's a really good part of that question. People say you were a good footballer. And look, I had plenty of technique and ability, yes, but there was others who were better. But I said there's two sides to playing football. There's good players, really good players, and then there's those who can stop really good players playing. And that might be the negative side of the game. But if you can do that really well and keep clean sheets, you've got your mates that can score the goals.
Yeah. And
they can be the heroes. They can take all the plaudits, It's the ability not to concede and to be hard to break down, hard to beat, that gives you a chance of winning games. Oops. Excuse me, sorry lads, I'll have to get shut to this. Hold on. Thank you. I should have switched my phone off anyway. That's just a pal of mine. So did you get the answer to that? I said there's two sides to the football. The one that you scoring goals, keeping out of your net, and it's the solidity and that sort that helps you win games. If you want to be wide open and play like the best teams, I'll cite Southampton this year. They got relegated almost in January, and you need to be solid. So I take it that I worked at my art, and I thought I was a good defender.
Well done on your career, Mick. I'm going to pass you on to Philip here now.
Christopher, you're very good, mate. You'll get a job on TV, you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mick. How are you?
I'm fine. What's your name?
Philip.
Philip. Sorry, I thought Christopher said yes. Hi, Philip.
I have a couple of questions for you today.
Please.
How did it feel to go from playing for Ireland to managing the national team?
With trepidation, with quite a bit of nervous energy, because I was 36, and I'm taking over after the best manager Ireland's ever had, with Jack Charlton. Look, it was a huge honour. I was always going to take it. once I was offered it. I mean, I was asked to apply for it. I did. I must have passed that interview test. And it was a huge honour to take it. But then once I've got it, it's like anything, be careful what you wish for. I got it, and then I've got to go to the next meeting or the next get-together of players. They were my mates, most of them. And I had a job really to start changing that squad from an aging squad that Jack had to bring in new blood in and new players. So, but I loved it. Let me just tell you, it was the best job I've ever had, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yep. When picking a team, what do you look for besides skill?
Well, I was just talking to Christopher there that you've got to work hard. The best teams work hard. Liverpool this year were the hardest working team. They call it the press now. We used to call it put them under pressure with Jack Charlton. And we had that success because we did put teams under pressure. And it was kind of new. We'd put the ball in behind them, push up and squeeze them. And we'd nick the ball off them. We just really pressurised them all over the pitch, almost man for man. And if you can do that and you've got good players, you'll win the league. If you've got good players who don't want to run around, you'll win nothing. So, believe me, hard work, dedication, being prepared to put the hard yards in, that is what makes you a success.
What's the hardest decision you ever had to make as a manager?
The hardest decision is to leave players out all the time. Doesn't matter who it is and when it is. Changing the team. Somebody who might have been really good for you for a couple of weeks and then 5 or 6 weeks, and there's a couple of weeks not so good and you leave him out. They call it rotation now. It wasn't a thing as much when I first started. You had a team, you played that team. Somebody got injured, you replaced him. Resting players is kind of accepted now. It certainly wasn't when I played and when I first started managing. So bringing the player into my office on Friday morning and telling him he's not playing, that was the toughest thing.
Yep. How do you motivate players after a tough loss?
Well, firstly, you have to deal with the loss in the dressing room afterwards, and that can be a difficult one. There could be harsh words in the dressing rooms after a bad loss. But then you have to regroup again. And it depends where you're at with those bad losses. You might have had 3 or 4 bad losses on the trot, and you've got to get out of that. You might have had 1. But you have to recognise what happened, analyse it on the following day, show the players what went wrong, and show them how you can avoid that in the future. And then put that loss to bed, just that's done. We're getting on and moving on to the next game. I had some managers that would, if we lost on Saturday, it'd be Thursday, the next Thursday, before they were even talking to us properly or being right with us. And I always found that strange. So I would say, if you're off on the Sunday, you're in Monday, you analyse it, you decide what went wrong, what was good in the game, how can we improve it, and then Tuesday, we're preparing for the next game, and that one's gone.
Do you think being a good leader is something you're born with or something you learn?
I think you're born with it. I do a little bit. And I said that I can only speak about myself. Being at junior school and being made a captain and asking to lead a team, I had no idea. It might have been because I was the best player. We only had 100 kids at our school. And I'm saying I was the best player. Well, I was one of the best players. At least I thought I was. But out of 100 kids, and half of them are girls, I'd like to think I was one of the best players, to be quite honest. And then you do learn it, though. As you play, I'm sure you do learn it. But I do think that is... You're born with something that gives you... that you're prepared to speak up almost. You're prepared to give your opinion. You're prepared to accept somebody putting pressure on you to lead, to show others how you do it. It's a real difficult question. I think knowing as I was as a kid, I think you're born with something, and then you do learn it. Because I go to meetings with the military through the League Managers Association, and it's almost taught their leadership skills, and they are amazing people. The guys in the military, how they lead, how they manage their soldiers, people who are with them. So there's a lot to be learned from there, and you can continue to learn. And I'm 66, and I'm still doing that. I'm still learning. The only problem is I haven't got a team that I can lead now. Oh.
Yep, that's all I got for you. Thank you, Mick.
Thanks, Christopher.
I'll pass you on to Jake now.
To who, Jake?
Yeah.
Hi, Jake. How are you?
Hi, Mick. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
No problem.
All right. What's something about being a manager that fans don't see?
Sorry, can you just speak up, Jake? Sorry.
What's something about being a manager that fans don't see?
The heartache and the upset and the disruption to your life and family that I'm not sure they understand that we have the same feelings. I do know that if you're a supporter of that club, and we just come to the club as a manager, we don't support the club. Let me tell you, once you take that manager's job, we do support that club. We support it 100%. And I'm not sure that fans understand the heartache and the turmoil that we go through.
Yeah.
I understand it's their club. We can never be as big a supporter as them. But any club I've been to, believe me, I'm in that club 100%. And when it's going well, yes, we all love that. But when it's going badly, it does really take a toll on your health.
Yeah.
If it's going badly enough. It takes a toll on you, how you are, your family life, everything. So, when you get in, if you're having a few bad defeats and you get a bit of abuse, it doesn't, it hurts, let me tell you. It really does.
Yeah.
Can you share a funny or unexpected moment that happened in the dressing room?
Yeah, I'm glad I've had this question twice now. So before, and I wasn't prepared for that. One of the funniest was, and it wasn't funny at the time because we just lost to Belgium when I was the manager of Ireland, of our national team, and we were playing in the playoffs. We just lost the game, so that wasn't funny. But I was extremely angry about something that had happened on the game, and I went into the dressing room, and I did, which I shouldn't have done, but I tipped there were some pots of coffee on the side, and I knocked them off on the floor, and something happened. Somebody said something to me, and I kicked one of them. And I kicked it, and I didn't know, but I went straight through the bottom of it, and my foot stuck in the coffee pot. And what I didn't know, that it was hot coffee in there, and it was burning my foot as I was trying to get it off. And I was hopping around trying to get this coffee pot off my foot that was burning me. And all the lads in the dressing room were trying their best not to laugh at me. So that now, I look back at that, well, I've looked back at that for 20 odd years and thought that was a very amusing moment for everybody else but me. But I find it funny now.
Yeah. What's one game you'll never forget, and what made it so special?
Strangely enough, it's a defeat. And it was the quarter-final of the World Cup in Rome against Italy. When I was growing up, and are you guys all 12?
Yeah.
11, 12. So when I'm your age and I want to be a professional footballer, and I know I can play for Ireland through my dad, when I got called up for that when I'm 23, never, ever, ever, I hoped, and I worked hard at it to try and make it happen. But, did I ever think I was going to be walking down the steps in Italy, in Rome, against the host nation and the captain of the national team? No. So that's the most memorable game for me for all those things. and yet it's a defeat. You know, most people are like, so I remember winning this or winning that. No. Quarter-final of the World Cup. Growing up as a kid, watching World Cups, I hoped I'd play in one. I don't think I ever thought I'd play in one. And some of the things people told me when I was a young lad, that I'd never make a footballer, well, that was some moment, that walking down those stairs. Best game of my life.
Fair enough. How do players and coaches handle nerves before big matches?
Handle nerves? I think we hope they're nervous. If there's ever, very rare did I have it, but I went out and I felt, you know, when you see teams, a Premier League team play a First Division team, and they go out probably thinking that they're going to win this game, and they're not nervous. That was the worst for me if I ever had that feeling, because it's like just being oversure of yourself and think you're going to win. I like the nervous energy. I wanted my stomach to be in a knot before the game because that meant I was ready for it. But how do you cope with it? I'm not sure. I did. I know there are players who really struggle with nerves and it affects them how they play. I think that nervous energy inspired me and I preferred being that way. So I can't really speak of saying it ever affected me in terms of in a negative way. I always thought it was a positive and it inspired me to play better.
Yeah. What's a day in the life of a football manager really like?
Hectic, busy, time-consuming. You know, if I take my job at any of the football clubs, if we start on a Monday, you're in your training. Tuesday, we might be going to watch a game of the next opponent. I could be driving 200 miles to watch my next opponent. You know, we might get a Wednesday off. It was always 7 o'clock in the morning till 5, 6 o'clock in the evening with me. You know, we play on a Saturday. If you're in on the Tuesday, you're in Sunday to cool down, to have a look at the game. Monday you're in training. Tuesday you're playing. It is constant. I know they seem to get a bit more time off now because the Premier League they get gaps in between. But the players are playing 60 odd games a year as well, the best teams. So it's very, very busy, constant, hard work for 10 months, but unbelievably enjoyable and rewarding. And that's, you know what, that's even when it's not going so well. Because it's the one thing I wanted to do, to be a player, and then the next thing to be a manager. And it's just a great industry to be in. And I've loved every minute of it. So despite the trials and tribulations at times, every minute of it has given me pleasure. I loved it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Mick. I'll pass you on to Oscar now.
Thanks, Jake.
Hello, Mick.
Sorry, what's your name?
Oscar.
Oscar. Sorry, Jake said. Yes, hi, Oscar.
I have a couple questions for you.
Okay.
If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your 12-year-old self?
It's a good question. 12-year-old. I'm just starting senior school. I can't say it would affect how I ended up being as a professional footballer because, you know what, when I was a 12-year-old, I loved just playing football, whether it was on the street, whether it was in a gym, whether it was on a football field. I loved doing all that. I'd probably tell myself not to take up smoking, which I did for about 6 weeks when some of my mates were smoking. So I soon stopped that, by the way, but it was a stupid thing to do. And I don't know what I could say to myself in terms of how it would make me any better. Because I think I tell you what I should have done. I should have cracked down and done better at school with my exams. That's what I should have done. But I love the football, and I was, you know, I spent a lot of time playing football. I'd come home at night, I'd go through my homework pretty quickly. I'd be back out playing football if I could. I think I should have spent a bit more time doing my homework. But I ended up doing what I what I wanted to do, and that's to be a professional footballer. But believe me, I'm very, very, very lucky because out of lads who get to football clubs, there's a very small percentage, something like 5%, who make a professional footballer. So, yeah, I'd have got more O levels than A levels, I think, if I'd have given myself a good talking to when I was 12. That's what you should do. And the reason being is because no way can you ever think that you're going to be a professional footballer. No way can you ensure you're going to be a professional footballer. You might not be good enough. Somebody might not fancy you as a footballer. You can get injured, all those things. And reality is you need a good education behind you to make sure that if you don't, if you want to be a footballer or anything else, that you've got a good education behind you to back you up. So, yeah, I'd tell myself to crack down on my homework a bit more.
Okay, my next question is, who inspired you the most going up on or off the pitch?
Well, players inspired me, certainly. I was a Leeds fan. Jack Charlton, Norman Hunt, Alan Clark, Billy Bremner, Johnny Giles. That was my team. Paul Reaney, Eddie Gray, Gary Sprake, Laurie Messer. I've gone through them. So that's the team that played when I was playing. And I love watching them. And they inspired me because, I don't know if you play football or, you watch your team and you want to go and emulate them and be like them. But the one person that inspired me more than anybody was a guy called Norman Remington, and he was when I joined Barnsley, believe it or not, he was the groundsman, but he was an ex-player. And then he was the physio at Barnsley. Oh, we got Oren in here. He was the physio at Barnsley, and he supported me. Well, he was a groundsman first. He supported me with knowledge, support, really, really gave me real encouragement when I was playing. And like I said, he was an ex-player himself. And he was the one that really helped me. When I was a 16-year-old as an apprentice, he was the one that inspired me. Chatting to him, talking to him, he encouraged me. Told me the truth, whether I was good, bad or indifferent when I played, and I'll always be thankful to him. Norman Remington, a great guy.
My next question is, how do you handle criticism, especially from the media, particularly during high-pressure moments like the 2002 World Cup and everything that happened with Roy Keane?
Well, how do I handle it? I'll tell you what, I think I handle it pretty well, considering everything that went off. I take it as it's part of the job, the media work, and you have to go and do it. You're kind of contracted to go and do it. There are some in the media that get after you, don't like you. Think there are better players, think there are other people that do it, don't like how you are. There's others that support you. So I treat it as a part of the job that I have to do. And, if I get criticism, I tell you what, though, I don't go looking to read it, to listen to it. I think that would drive you mad. I think even more so now. Now it's on your phone. You can look at it and people will be commenting on you. So I took it as part of the job, and that's what it was. And that's, the good stuff, the bad stuff, the not so good stuff. And it's part of the game. And that's how I viewed it. And I got better at it the older I got. When I was younger, I'd get a little bit angry about that. But the older I got, I just took it as part of the job.
What's been your proudest moment so far in football?
Two things: playing for Ireland, the quarter-final, and managing them in the World Cup in 2002. That was an amazing experience. So both of those things, for obvious reasons, it's not just a team; it's my country I'm leading. So to be able to do that, and to follow Big Jack, who was one of my heroes as a player, and then we all loved him, by the way, all the players. To be able to follow him and almost emulate him, almost got to the quarter-final. was a great thing to be able to do.
If you weren't involved in football, what career do you think you'd have chosen?
That's a very good question. I said to you about not doing my schoolwork, not being as diligent with my schoolwork as I was with my football. I was when I joined Barnsley, they were paying me £11. I think it was 7 and 4, 7 for my mum and 4 for me. And the lads who I was at school with had gone down the pit or gone to be an electrician that they were taking on to get a skill, to get to become an electrician. And they were getting 35 quid a week. So if I hadn't gone as a footballer, I was going to the pit as an electrician. Thank goodness I ended up being a footballer. But that's where I was heading. So take my advice and do your schoolwork and be diligent. Take your exams, pass your exams, and make sure you get a good job when you leave school.
Right, thank you, Mick.
Mick,
it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Mick, thank you so much for taking the time out to join us once again on the Pod Squad. It's always a privilege to hear your insights, whether it's on TV or whether you're in front of us here. Your stories and your straight talking wisdom, I suppose we'll call it. Your passion for the game and your incredible career continues to inspire us all. Thank you for the memories, and we really appreciate you sharing your time with us. And thanks.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
I hope it was okay. But I said, I'm telling them, do their exams.
Yeah, you're an absolute gentleman. We won't hold you up anymore. Thank you very much, Mick. God bless.
Thanks, Gordon.
Good man.
Bye-bye.
You've just been listening to the Pod Squad, podcast brought to you by the pupils of Skull Column Kill, Letterkenny.